Hi, welcome back to my video. In this demo, I'm going to show you how to install MMCE from Marketplace and how to use it. So this is a short tutorial video how to show you how to do that from the beginning. So the first thing we want to do is look at all the steps involved on the install. Right. So the first thing we need to do is get the license from MemVerge from the license server. And the second is we're going to deploy the software, the MMCE from AWS Marketplace. And then once we deploy that, we can log into the App Center via the CLI. And once we logged in, we can look at what application we can run, and then we can deploy and running those applications. So it's pretty straightforward. And then let's get right into it. So the first thing we want to do is go into license.memverge.com and then just click on register. Just type in your email address. Let's just say you do that. Type in register. Okay, so that is successful, and then we are going to check our email, make sure we click on the link so we can acknowledge the registration. Okay, so after I click on the email that I received, now it says you can log in. So let me go ahead and log in to it. I can skip all these and then just put in my license. Put in my AWS account ID over here, and then once I do that, I can activate the license from here. Okay, so that's the first step. The second step is now we can log into AWS. Sign in. So I'm going to log in as myself. Okay, so the next thing to do is to activate the license. I already have the license, so for me, it has already been activated. But if you have not activated yet, just come over to AWS License Manager, and then you will see under granted license, you will see a new license should appear here because we are associating your AWS ID with MemVerge license, and then you will be able to click on activate license from here. You simply select whichever license you want to activate, and there will be a option here allow you to activate the license, and you say activate, and that's all it takes. Okay, so that's how you activate the license. The next step is to download MemVerge software from the marketplace. So I simply type MemVerge in the search box, and under marketplace you will find Memory Machine Cloud Edition. So simply click on that. And this will allow you to install the software. There are a couple of things we need to know before we can go through the whole installation. The first thing is to understand what is the VPC configuration. So I'm going back to AWS, and I'm going to go to EC2. I'm going to click on VPC. And under VPC, we are going to look at subnets. Okay, so under my VPC, I have several subnets, and then we will use this as a reference when we go through the install, because the App Center we're installing required to understand which subnet we're going to be installing on this VPC. Okay, so we go back here. We click on subscribe. Okay, and we click on continue. Over here, the key information we want to select is which region we belong to. So I'm in US East Ohio, so I'll pick that. Continue to launch, and under this drop down, we are going to select Cloud Formation. Launch. And then we'll leave all these as is and click on next. So over here, it's going to ask me, what is the name of the stack you want to create. So I'll just use January 2023 as my stack name. And the next is the Op Center machine type. We'll leave that as medium. The float key name is basically the EC2 key pair I use. So I'm going to use this particular one. And if you don't have a key pair created, simply go to EC2 and then create the key pair. Okay, so the next is the VPC. So there's only one option, so we'll just select this VPC. But if you have multiple, make sure you select the right VPC for using Op Center. The next one is the subnet. So that's what I was talking about, right? So we want to pick and choose whichever the subnet that we want to use for this. So we go back over here, we look at which subnets. And so let's say I'm going to use US East 2A. Okay. These are the other options we don't really need to worry about. So 172.31.0.0 is the subnet I want to use, and that is US East 2A. Okay. So I'll go back here. And availability zone, it's 2A. Okay, so C68. Okay, C68 is East 2A. Okay. The rest, I want to allow all subnet to have access to my Op Center. If you want to restrict that, this is where you can specify any particular subnet you want to allow the access. Otherwise, 0.0.0.0/0, meaning all networks. Okay, so that's all we have to do over here, and then we'll click on next. And then next again. And all the way on the bottom, we will check off acknowledgement and then submit. And this will start the creation process. This will create the Op Center inside your VPC. And this process takes roughly about, let's say, 5-10 minutes. So we'll come back to this once it's done. Okay, so in about 5-10 minutes, looks like the create has completed, and we can just refresh this. Okay, so that's all done. And if I go back to EC2, under instances, you will see a new Op Center is here. It's Op Center-Jan 2023. That's the one we just created, right? So right now it's initializing. It will probably take another 2 or 3 minutes to do that. And once it's fully up and running, we can log in and activate the license, make sure that's running, upgrade the software, and just do a couple of things to get it prepped and ready to go. All right. So we'll wait for a few more minutes. Okay, so now it's fully running. We can click on the instance ID and click on open address. Okay, the website. And then you can see here, this is the landing page, what we call it. And you can see the Op Center status is checked, license is unknown. So we need to upgrade the software to the latest version and to get the license working. And there's a couple of buttons here as well. There's a download CLI, so you can download a binary on your machine. So you can run memory machine the float command locally on your machine, or you can use the web CLI. Okay, so I'm going to use the download CLI tool to access MMC. Also, you can also click on the MMC architecture. It will give you an overview on how everything is put together from a configuration architecture standpoint. Okay, all right. So let's move on, and then let's get this license activated. Okay, so I'm logged into my machine, and I can do a float. Okay, so you can see here, all the commands in MMCE is started with the command float. So the first thing we want to do is log into our Op Center. Okay, so this will log into the Op Center, and then we need to check what is the version we are running. So as you can see here, it's running version 1.1. The latest is 1.2. So the first thing we have to do is upgrade to the right version. We'll do a float release ls. Okay, so you can see here, it's telling me that the latest version available is 1.2. So I simply do is release upgrade. It asks me, do I want to upgrade? Yes, I do. And we'll give it like a minute to upgrade. It's usually fairly quick, and it will log back in. Okay, so it looks like the upgrade has completed. We'll do a flow version. Okay, so you can see here, we are now upgraded to 1.2. And if I come over here, I refresh my browser, you can see here, it has been upgraded to 1.2 bounty release. And the Op Center status and both license status are green, right? They're all good now. Okay, so make sure we do the login again. Okay. So now we can explore what applications we can deploy. So the command to see what application is built into to MMCE is run the image list. And from here, you can run any of this program you want. And then the question becomes, so what is the right command to run this? I have some very simple shortcuts, some pre-built commands that you can launch. So let me just copy that into here, and then you can do the same thing. Right now, we just want to make sure everything is running as normal. And in the next video, I'll show you how to configure and then how to launch jobs, how to look at the job status, look at the logs, and so forth. Okay, so the particular command I'm going to run here is a space workload. I'm going to change the CPU to smaller, like two CPU, 4 gig memory. Just want to make sure we're using a small instance. We don't really need to use a large instance here anyway. All right, so this command basically submit a space workload with this predefined shell script and a specific amount of memory CPU we want to use, as well as the data volume. The data volume is used as a working space. So as the application is running, it needs some working space to complete the work, and it will download the data from the S3 bucket, and then it will execute those commands and then run it in this EC2 instance. That's how you do this from this flow submit command. And then once you submit it, you can see here, it gives you some information, tell you what the job ID is, what's the name of the application you're running, the Docker image it's grabbing from, what version, and it tell you the policy for this VM is called Spot first. So basically, it will always use Spot as the first choice. It will retry 3 times. If that Spot instance is not available, it will retry 3 times, and it will wait 10 minutes in between. If it cannot find the Spot instance, it will go back to on-demand instance, and it will keep trying Spot in the background until it finds one. And then it will switch back. Okay, so now we can look at the status of this job. You can see here, space is launched, and the job status is initializing, right? So once we have the IP address of the VM acquired, and then we can see it from here. If I go back to EC2 instance, go to instances, you can see here a new instance is initializing, and this is the space workload. Okay, it's starting. This machine is actually starting right now. Okay. So this will take about maybe 2 or 3 minutes to initialize, and then once it's fully initialized, it will kick off the job, and then it will run. And then this is how you will launch an application, a Docker image application from MMCE, and it runs on Spark instances. For the duration of this run, if this particular instance receive a reclaim or eviction signal from AWS, the software here, our software is going to automatically move the application to a new Spark instance without any end user intervention. So that's how we can making sure that we can run your workload at the lowest cost possible on Spark instance, and also be able to protect the workload, so you won't lose data. Until it completes, then it will copy the results back to S3. It will shut down the instance. It will do all that automatically. So if this job runs about, let's say, 2 hours, in 2 hours later, this job will finish. The EC2 instance will be shut down, and everything will be cleaned up in a way, right? Okay, so you can see here the IP address is acquired. If you want, you can actually log into this IP address to access this machine to look at your workload if you want. But yeah, so from here it looks like everything's running. So that's how you will install. Just to recap, this is how you will install MMCE, get a license, install MMCE in AWS Marketplace, configure, upgrade the software, and then launch a program. That's all we have for this video. Thank you for watching. Bye now.